Hello everyone, how are you? Owen Jennings here, your spiritual guide and divorce empowerment coach, coming in with the energies for this week from today the 10th of August until Sunday the 16th of August. So first of all, how are you? Secondly, this is going to be quite a week energetically and you're probably already feeling it. So do look after yourselves, okay? First of all, we're still in the Lionsgate portal that closes on the 12th, which is Wednesday. So if you've already looked at what it is you wish to let go of in this portal, then try to take steps to do that in the time we have left. I mean, it doesn't mean that you can't still do that afterwards, but this just gives it an extra, this energy just gives it an extra what's the word, extra push for you to let it go. It may well be that it can just be a plan to let it go, as long as the plan, is going to be definite. And of course, the ending of the Lionsgate portal coincides with the new moon eclipse, solar eclipse on Wednesday as well, the 12th. So there's a lot going on. Some astrologers are calling this a big timeline shift. It is a big new moon. It's in Leo. Leo is all about sort of pride, but also, going for it, putting the crown on, having the inner determination of a lion and the courage of a lion as well. Very similar to the Lionsgate, of course. So interestingly, I mean, and I just haven't slept for the last few nights because of this energy. I think it's because of this energy anyway. It just feels like, I've been saying for a while timelines are shifting, and I do think they are. It's weird, isn't it? Because how do you explain it? Are you literally like going to jump from, like, you're not going to physically jump from one timeline to another. You're still going to be here on the morning of the 13th, right? So it's not that. It's about choosing a higher path of consciousness for yourself. It's about really tuning into what your soul wants. Eclipses tend to do that. They tend to show us what our soul wants. And if we're not in alignment with our soul during eclipse, can't get my words out today. If we're not in alignment with what our soul requires or wants or desires when there are eclipses going on, then eclipses have a tendency to course correct us, to put us back onto our soul's pathway, onto our higher timeline. So this is why I've been saying for a while now, it would be good to get your house in order. It'd be good to know what you want to let go of, so that you can take those steps, and so that the eclipse doesn't have to sort of pull the rug from under your feet. So that the universe doesn't have to pull the rug from under your feet. I don't know why I'm having trouble with my words. And give you a shock. Okay. So I just got a notice then that this live stream might be a little bit dodgy. Let me know if the connection doesn't seem right if you're watching. Sorry about that if that's true. So today, I mean, I can only really go by my own experience and what my guides are showing me. And, I held space for some lovely ladies for the Lionsgate portal on the 8th in the evening. It was amazing. And we talked about the significance of this particular Lionsgate with Leo being Jupiter, and we were all invited to let go of, things we don't want to take with us into this next stage of our lifetime. and it was very powerful, and there was a lot of healing that went on. And um, even though this is all really positive, I think this is why I was struggling with my words, even though all this is very, very positive, because if we're following our soul's timeline, it has to be the right one, right? It can still feel tricky. It can still feel scary. It's not in our comfort zone. So I don't know about you, but I've kind of woken up today feeling a little bit on edge, maybe even a little bit frustrated or angry, because I know this. Well, I know I've made certain decisions, but it's taking the next steps to make them happen, isn't it? And it's also my ego, so this will be possibly happening for you as well, coming in and saying, can you really do that? Are you sure? You know, because I am making certain changes, and I know they're in alignment with my higher self and my soul and all the rest of it, but little human me, I think, is going, hang on a minute, are you sure? And that fits in, as far as I understand it, with what's going on today anyway, because the planet Mercury is squaring Chiron today, apparently. And this is when we can sort of slip into worst case scenarios. Fear and self-doubt can come up. So I've been trying not to go there with the fear and the self-doubt, but it can be difficult. And if that's what you're experiencing, again, try not to go there. Just notice it. For me, it's showing me a pattern of what I do when I get close to doing something differently, and in more alignment. It's showing me a pattern of, oh, I really don't know, because that might affect, it might affect not only me, but somebody that I care about and things like that. And there's various other things going on for me as well. So just try not to dwell on that, and just notice it, write it down if you have to. It's something that will generally be often pulling you back. It'll be a pattern that you're being shown, in other words, okay? And then we've got Venus trining Pluto, apparently, which brings us into a deeper connection with yourself. So really checking in with yourself, seeing, how you really feel about something. And what are your values, so you might also be shown where you are living an illusion as well. Not just today, maybe tomorrow as well. It's not going to all happen today, but that's kind of where we're at. And then tomorrow, apparently Mars moves into Cancer, and Mars doesn't like being in Cancer, because obviously Mars is fire. It takes action. It wants the next steps to be done now, whereas Cancer is a bit slower and more emotional. This might show you where you're not valued in your life, in your relationships, and so on, if you haven't already had that light bulb moment. So watch out for that as well. And then we have, ta-da, you must know about it, the I don't know if it's a total solar eclipse or a partial one. Some astrologers are saying total, some are saying partial, but it's new moon solar eclipse. It's going to be visible from the UK on Wednesday the 13th in the evening. I think it's between about 6:15 and 7:15, depending on where you are in the UK and other parts of the world as well. Check. There's lots of information out there on it. If you are going to watch it, make sure you have the correct eye protection. Don't look at it directly, whatever you do. So there's going to be a moment where where darkness comes, right? But this is also part of our timeline shift. It's in Leo, and there's lots going on in Leo, as you know. So it's linking with the South lunar nodes, which is all about breaking free from karmic, past karmic patterns. Okay, or anything really that's dragging you down. It could be a personal relationship, it could be a professional relationship. So And at the same time, I think, well, not at the same time, but on that day as well, we've got Mercury going into the Barbolt basket. I really can't get words out today. And that's kind of your mind and coming on board, finally aligning with what your soul and your heart wants. You might expect to get lots of downloads and things like that. You know, this is all to do, as I mentioned earlier, with your soul's calling, where your soul wants you to be in life. You know, when we leave things behind, it's not always an easy journey, but you know, the first step is getting clear on what you want to leave behind and what you want to create. Be aware of your words as well, with Mercury involved in all of this, because your words have power, well, they always do, but they'll be particularly powerful during these next few days. That was just some notes I had written down there. And then, interestingly, the astrology from about Thursdays, it could well be testing, you know, that we are taking these steps forward. You'll want to test your new timeline yourself. Like, okay, I promised myself I'm going to act like this now, or I've let that go now, or I'm about to let that go. So what does that mean? What does that look like? How am I going to turn up? How am I going to show up? Okay. I looked this week at my Empowered Woman Rises Oracle cards for some extra guidance here. And the cards that came out were self-worth, which kind of fits in with some of the astrology I mentioned. You know, sometimes our self-worth is tied up in what other people think of us, how much we do for somebody else, that sort of thing. When actually we're good enough, you know, without having to prove anything. In fact, we're amazing without having to prove anything. So you'll see she's got like a crown of roses or something like that on her head. And this is asking you to put your crown back on, which is exactly what the Lionsgate portal is asking you to do, and the new moon. Like, know who you are, know that you're amazing, know that you can achieve anything, know that you're limitless. And then we have healing, interestingly, coming in. Now, there's a lot of healing available in the Lionsgate. This was a card that came up in the during the evening of the 8th in my event. Just acknowledging that you've been through a lot, healing is available as well. And the more that you tune into the light of the Lionsgate portal, the more healing you'll receive. And it's also about letting go. It's about, you know, really trying to be honest with yourself. And I think perhaps that's, you know, why sometimes we get a bit annoyed with ourselves, or we get frustrated, is because we're trying to be honest, we're trying to do all these things, but then something might happen which gets in the way, or we think it's got in the way, so we can't be honest and true to ourselves, or we can't do what we feel like we want to, or we feel that we're being called to, because, you know, something else gets our attention. And to be honest, that is just our egos keeping us safe. That is just our egos saying, oh, you know, just leave that for today. Get on with this instead. Right? So just be mindful of that. And the weekend has got some lovely astrology around. So I think it is going to be a very, very powerful week. It's worth doing the work this week. So maybe doing some journaling about what you're letting go of. Particularly what you don't want to take with you into your next sort of higher level of consciousness. And, you know, from that, how, you know, what does that mean? What will that enable you to do? So, for example, if you're not taking on everybody else's responsibilities, does that free you up to do more of what you're here to do? Probably. You know, it could just be as simple as that, rather than, you know, relationships ending or anything like that. So do what you can. Most importantly, really look after yourself. If you're anything like me and you're not sleeping, you will be extremely exhausted. So please rest when you can. Lots of cups of tea in my case. But no, lots of water, you know, whatever it is that soothes you is necessary as well this week. But I do feel this is all very positive. It is. It's all very positive. It's just not easy. And anything in life worth having is not easy, is it? So just remember that. And I wish you an amazing, amazing week ahead. Bye bye.